Hey guys, Mystery Wheel Gunner back here with you again with another handgun overview. No, it's not a wheel gun, but it is a hand cannon, so hey, that's still pretty cool, right? And yes, this is the Desert Eagle from Magnum Research. This one is in 50 AE. The Desert Eagles are available in different cartridges. They're available in 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, and the now already defunct 429DE. We won't get into that today. But anyway, the 50 AE, the 50 Action Express chambering, is probably the most famous chambering. Now, how did it get that famous? Did it get that way through actual use and utility? Or did it get that way due to portrayal in movies and video games? Well, I don't really know. I'm gonna guess it's more because of its portrayal than its actual utility. But hey, no matter how it got there, again, the 50 AE is what people think of when they think of the Desert Eagle. This particular Desert Eagle is a Mark 19. It's one of the later Mark 19s, so it does have a few upgrades. It's got the top rail, the bottom rail, and the integrated muzzle brake. No, it does not come with this optic. I added that on later. But anyway, aside from the the top and bottom rail and the muzzle brake, it is part of the Mark 19 family. And the Mark 19 family is the longest running version of the Desert Eagle. The Mark 1s were introduced in 1983 and ran until 1990 when they were replaced by the Mark 7s. And the Mark 7s ran until 1995 when they were replaced by the Mark 19s. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, those are some big jumps from, Mark 1 to Mark 7 and from Mark 7 to Mark 19. So what happened to all those other marks? I don't know. My best guess, and it's just a guess, is the marks that didn't make it to market were probably, test models, prototypes, that type of thing. One neat thing about the Desert Eagle is that it is a gas-operated handgun.
Who farted?
No, not that kind of gas-operated. So when the Desert Eagle is fired, some of the gas is tapped off into this very small channel right underneath the bore of the barrel. This gas then travels up to the front here and then gets blown down into this little chamber here, and there's a piston right there. The gas pushes against the face of the piston, and it's going to be a little difficult for me to manipulate here. Probably easier if I do it this way from this side. Anyway, so when the gun is fired, a large volume of gas is produced. Most of the gas goes down the barrel to push the bullet, but some of it is tapped off into a little port just underneath the barrel, comes down or travels up here, gets dumped off, pushes against the piston, which will drive the slide back. Obviously, the slide is locking back because I have an empty mag in there. But anyway, you can sort of see the piston right there. See that object right in there? That's the piston that the gases push against. Actually, you can probably, if I can get this thing to cooperate, you can probably see the port that the gases are tapped off at. All right, and it travels down here, and again gets dumped off the front, pushes against the piston. The piston is attached to the slide. This is the slide on the Desert Eagle, and it pushes this thing back, which then of course extracts the spent shell and then ejects it. Okay, you have to take the empty mag out. And of course, when it reaches this stage, okay, obviously it's locked back now, but in actual firing, it would not be locked back unless the magazine was empty. So it reaches this stage, and right here, the dual recoil spring is compressed, and that now takes over. The potential energy of the compressed recoil springs takes over, and the slide comes back forward, stripping a new round off the top of the mag and chambering the new round, and it's now ready to fire once again. Takedown of the Desert Eagle is actually pretty simple. First, make sure it's unloaded, obviously. Okay, there's this little button here. All you do is push on that while you rotate this lever downward. Barrel pops off. And then the slide comes off that easily. Oops. Here's the frame. The dual recoil spring. And right here, you can see this is the piston I talked about earlier that the gas will push up against to drive the slide backwards. Okay, reassembly is also pretty straightforward, but I'm probably going to end up fumbling a little bit here because I'm trying to do it on camera, trying to keep everything in frame. Anyway, here's the piston. You install it into the front of the slide. Now you will notice that there is a notch there on the piston stem. Okay, you got to rotate that around so that you have room in this spot here for the tab. Hopefully this shows up. See that tab on the dual recoil spring? That little tab has to go in there. All right. Then you just gotta make sure the recoil spring lines up correctly. So there it goes. And there we go. Usually the recoil springs, once you get in the ballpark, they will self-locate themselves. You'll know that you have the piston and the dual recoil springs installed correctly because you will no longer be able to just pull out the piston even if you rotate it. Okay, so that's how you know it's in there good. Just take your barrel, pop it in, push it all back, and flip up the lever, and there it goes. Time now for another episode of The Trigger Snob. To be fair, the Desert Eagles were never marketed as target or match grade pistols. I'm sure there are people who use them in silhouette matches. You know, the power of the 50 AE lends itself well to knocking down, big heavy steel targets. But that being said, hitting the big steel silhouettes, not exactly a pinpoint sport, not making fun or disparaging silhouette shooters, but just saying silhouette shooting is involves a lesser degree of accuracy than bullseye shooting. Anyway, because the Desert Eagles are not marketed as bullseye or, match type pistols, I think it would be kind of unfair to do the whole trigger snobbery on them. Suffice to say, it's a good enough trigger. It kind of reminds me a bit of kind of like a loose 1911 trigger. It is a single action trigger. It's pretty light. All right, it's not bad. Again, match grade, no. But again, these are not marketed as match grade pistols. The trigger is good enough that, if you can't hit anything with your Desert Eagle, it's not the trigger, it's you. I love the mechanical sounds that the Desert Eagle makes. I know that sounds like a weird thing to focus on, but everything about it just sounds so good. It makes nice mechanical sounds. Hear that? That just sounds cool. Ka-chunk. It sounds exactly the way it looks. It's just a big old gun, big old machine. And even the sound of the magazine going in sounds cool. Man, that just sounds cool. In case you're wondering why I seemingly have snot on the bottom of my mag, it's because a friend of mine also has a Desert Eagle, and he has the conversion kit for the 44 Magnum, and his 44 Magnum magazines, are the same color as the 50 AE mags. So I colored mine with some yellow paint. I know it looks like snot, but that's just paint. This is so I don't accidentally confuse his 44 Magnum magazines for my 50 AE. Moldy Frozen Orange versus Desert Eagle. Let's get it on! Desert Eagle wins. Frutality. Look out! Here comes a challenger! And she gone! Okay, some explanation is in order for the upcoming clip. First of all, sorry for the really bad white balance. I'm in the shade, the camera is in the shade. The steel target, which is painted white, is over where the sun is directly shining on it, so it is completely washed out. When I hit the target, you can hear it ring, but you can't see it swing. I'm sitting down because my knee was giving me some problems, so I had to sit down for a little bit. That shouldn't be too much of a big deal to any of you, but the thing that is going to be a big deal is that the Desert Eagle starts to have a lot of malfunctions. This is not the fault of the gun, it is not the fault of the ammunition, it is my fault. I'm used to shooting the revolver hand cannons. With a revolver I can ride the recoil, and there are no adverse effects. It doesn't affect functionality of the revolver. With the Desert Eagle, however, you cannot ride the recoil. The Desert Eagle doesn't like muzzle flip. You ride the recoil on a Desert Eagle, it's going to be the equivalent of like limp wristing a 1911, okay? 1911s are generally speaking quite reliable, but if you start limp wristing that thing, you will increase the possibility of malfunctions. With the Desert Eagle, you ride the recoil on that thing, and there is a very, very much increased possibility for malfunctions. So, just wanted you to know that. But anyway, here comes the clip where, the Desert Eagle has a lot of malfunctions, but it's all my fault. Overall, I do like the Desert Eagle. Is it my absolute favorite? No, but it is a likable gun. I mean, it's a semi-auto hand cannon, so, there's a lot to like. My biggest problem is that, well, I'm so used to riding the recoil on my revolvers, so, when I try to incorporate that technique when firing the Desert Eagle, obviously this gun has problems. This gun does not like it when you ride the recoil. So that's my only real problem with it. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, give me a like, give me a subscribe, share this video with your friends. I'll catch you all next time.